So Orville Redenbacher, have you heard of him before?
I have.
Okay, so you know he's a Purdue alum,
Yes.
right? Born in 1907 in Brazil, Indiana. I don't know if you know where that is. Do you know where Brazil is? Because I know Peru.
I don't know where Brazil is.
I'm not sure.
I have
either.
no idea where it is either. My Indiana geography is not great.
Yeah.
But we do have Orville Redenbacher's popcorn because he was a Purdue alumni.
Yeah.
So do you want to start it off, Calvin?
Yeah, I'll
with the
start it
popcorn?
off.
So Orville grew up on a family farm selling popcorn out of the back of his truck, apparently, and that was how he got into it, I guess. So, yeah, so we have some of his popcorn here. What was he involved in at Purdue, Calvin? Do you know?
He actually graduated in 1928 with a degree in agronomy. And in 1951, he bought a seed plant with another partner in somewhere else in Indiana. I'm not really sure where it is. And then after years of work...
Boone Grove.
Boone Grove.
I don't know, again, on a map.
Yeah, where that is in Indiana, we're not sure. But he bought this seed plant, and then after years of work of testing like hundreds of different hybrids of the popcorn kernel, he found the one that he settled on today, which was called Red Bow, and that actually launched as the nation's top-selling popping corn in 1970.
So that's how we have the popcorn. Because
Yep.
we were debating before this started if you knew what a microwave was, right? But then we realized that's our Gen Z minds right here going, yeah, the microwave was invented in the 1950s. So he did know know what a microwave was. But we didn't know if he intended for it to be out of a microwave or just on your stovetop. I don't know if they had that invention yet, like the actual microwavable popcorn.
My guess is stovetop because I grew up on stovetop.
Yes.
And back then, in the 70s, they had these little electric, that you plugged into the wall, electric popcorn poppers.
Okay.
So total fire hazard, but everything was then. So you put in oil and the popcorn and it would pop there.
Oh.
We didn't have microwave popcorn for years when I was
Okay.
growing up, but we always had
Okay.
Orville Redenbacher popping
The
corn.
popping corn,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Because then I also have seen the ones like the Jiffy Pop as well that you can do on the stove
Right,
as well.
or over
So-
a campfire.
Oh,
Good
that's the
times.
best. That's the
Yeah,
good
yeah.
times. Yeah. So that was Orville. That's an introduction to our man Orville Redenbacher. So,
Right.
all right.
Purdue alum.
Purdue alumnus.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're going to feature different Purdue alumnus throughout all of our podcast episodes. So we started off well today with
Yep.
Orville
Orville
Redenbacher.
Redenbacher.
Yep.
Excellent.
So we can go ahead and roll our intro right now.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee Break with Purdue Engineering, the gateway to your next giant leap. In this podcast series, we discuss the many engineering programs and majors here at Purdue through conversational interviews between current Purdue students and Purdue staff and faculty. I'm Nick Buffo, a senior in biomedical engineering, continuing on to medical school in the fall of 2024.
And I'm Calvin Given, a current junior in electrical engineering with a minor in business economics. We really hope you enjoy our show, and it helps answer some of the questions about what it's like to be an engineering student here at Purdue.
All right. Welcome back to this week's episode. We are going to be discussing financial questions, affordability, and student success in our Purdue College of Engineering. So I'm, again, one of your hosts, Nick Buffo.
And I'm your other host, Calvin Given, and this week we're joined by Amy Wagner, who's the Assistant Director of Student Success for the College of Engineering. Do you want to introduce yourself, Amy?
Sure. Again, Amy Wagner, Assistant Director of Student Success. I'm also a Purdue graduate from 1998, so a little bit before most of your time. But Purdue has been my home for many, many years, and it's also my family's home. I have many graduates from Purdue in my family, so love this college, love this school, and I am really happy to be here with you guys today.
It's a great school. Awesome. Well, thank
Yeah.
you for joining us. We're so glad to have you. So I guess we can start talking and get into some of our questions here. So what advice or strategies would you give to students or families when they're making their decision to attend a certain university or Purdue University? So what would you say are some strategies?
Well, I would say as soon as you get those acceptance letters, you just need to continue. You need to start by continuing your research. I know that nobody goes into applying to college blindly, and they probably have done some sort of research beforehand. But now that you know you actually have a chance to go, it's time to really dig deep and see what is there, what type of school potentially will you be attending, what is going on. And very important, you need to look at the financial aspects of what you're committing to, because this is an investment in yourself. that is a bigger investment than you will probably ever make in your life unless you go to a post-baccalaureate degree afterwards, which will be an even bigger investment. But we'll worry about that after we get you your bachelor's degree here. But the greatest way to do that is just to dig in, find information. Most schools have very good websites at this point with a lot of information on it. So if you're willing to click and you're willing to scroll, you can find out a lot of things that you would need to know. Financially speaking, you can find out most certainly the cost of attendance, things that you need to know in terms of what average tuition is yearly, what fees are, which is very important because sometimes there are fees that are tacked on that surprise you, and that's not good. Also housing, things like that. So you want to get an idea, picture of how much those things cost. Great resource for people is the U.S. Department of Education, trustworthy source, but they have a great part of their website called College Affordability and Transparency, and it offers different ways for people to look up calculating price for an individual university. It tells you, it gives you like a college scoreboard so it can rank other colleges with the colleges that you've been accepted to. I highly recommend going to that for more in-depth information. And on a personal level, I think it's a great idea to create like a spreadsheet or some way of tracking all this information so that you can personally compare all of your all of the information that you've gathered with the other colleges that you've been accepted to, so you can really compare and contrast in an easy way.
Yeah, it's definitely a daunting task when you're going and looking at the colleges you've been applied to or that you've been admitted to and just continuing to do research because you get so much information on them, and it's important to synthesize them like you were saying. In addition to that, one of the things I found helpful was actually visiting the schools again or for the first time if you didn't visit before you actually applied. But going and seeing the school after you've been admitted gives you a different mindset and a different view on it because you're actually, there's more reality to you existing there. So it's easier to put yourself in those shoes, I feel like.
I 100% agree, and that was part of my notes that I made for us. Financial aspect, of course, extremely important. That's why I started with it. But as you mentioned, your comfortability on campus is going to be really important for your students' success. You need to determine whether or not this is some place where you can feel yourself being at home. And if that's not there, it's going to be really hard to succeed. College can be so overwhelming. The academics are there's a lot of pressure. I like to tell my students who I meet when they are first incoming as first-year engineers or first year in general at Purdue, you were probably the big fish in a little pond at your high school. Everybody was, and that's the nature of being at Purdue, a highly competitive academic school. But now you are on a big pond with a lot of other big fish.
A lot of other
and
fish.
now you're a big fish. Don't forget, you still have big fish qualities. Now you have to figure out how to be a big fish amongst all the big fish.
Right.
And that's really the point of succeeding in college or not, is figuring out how to do that. And if you aren't comfortable on campus, you're not going to be able to do it. So you want to look around, you want to see, if you are really used to public transportation, does that campus offer that type of thing for you? If you are really used to certain types of foods, that sounds silly, but wow, if they don't have some of the things that you like, or you don't have access to them, you won't like it. You know, the housing, things like that. Like, let's break it down and see where you will really be comfortable, because you don't want your academics to suffer because you are not comfortable. You haven't been able to find a home. So I would highly recommend that.
That was actually the first thing when I was touring colleges with my parents. My mom and dad both looked right at me, and I remember this vividly. They stood there and they said, "Do you see yourself going here?" And there were some universities I just said, "You know what? I don't see it. When I'm walking down this road, I didn't see it." And it just happened to be the red bricks down Purdue that I saw it. And that's kind of helped make the decision. But there would definitely, I think that's such a great conversation to have with yourself and with your parents, is just ask that. And that's what I did. And I know it helped a lot, because I know there were some universities that I wouldn't have had fun, or I wouldn't have had the success that I would have had at Purdue, because I just didn't see myself going there.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, I'm sorry if I interrupted.
No, you're good.
But just if you you should visit campus, especially if you haven't. And if you haven't, you should consider why that is. because you may or may not need to go home at some point. And if it's a transportation problem getting from where you live, where your home is, to your college, then that might become a problem when you need to go. And all of us have fallen into that point where it's like, I really need to go home this weekend. And if you can't make it happen and your parents can't make it happen, that's heartbreaking for them. And it's heartbreaking for you. So you need to figure out how to get there, and if that's going to become a regular problem for you. And then organize some times to meet with other students, go on tour groups, things like that, but also just walk around campus and look at the other students walking around. So preferably do this when it's in session, right?
Yes.
Because if everyone looks totally stressed out and they're staring down and they're then that's telling you something about the atmosphere. But if you're seeing some people occasionally here and there, taking for granted that we're all here for academics and everyone's stressed at some point. But if you see people with their heads up and they look a little bit more like this is their home and they fit, then you know that that's going to be something that maybe you can take advantage of too. So that's good.
Yeah. I mean, two themes that I had on my visit. Well, one was this is a story I like to share with prospective students that I get to talk to. One was that we are standing there looking confused, me and my mom, with a map, and someone actually took the time out of their passing period to stop and give us directions. In addition to that, like looking and being on campus and asking yourself, even if someone else is not asking you, that can you see yourself being here? That's super important to make the decision. That's what I did, and part of the other reason why I was here was the people that I interacted with. It was not only the tour guides, but that random person who helped us get directions. And then it was also really cool to see how many people here just like wear Purdue gear around just to wear Purdue gear because they are so happy and glad that they're at this institution.
That is a cool thing about Purdue that I have noticed myself. There was a movie back when I was a kid, your age, and they said, you're wearing the shirt of the band you're going to go see. So when I see people on campus, I'm like, you're wearing the shirt of the college you attend? Well, you do, because it's cool, and everyone does, and it's fun. It's really fun.
That has been, I know that the pride of being a Boilermaker, that's something that really made Purdue unique. And every time you see the P on the shirt, and I was abroad, and someone saw the P, and they recognized and said, oh, I was a Purdue grad, 20 years ago. And all it took was just that one boiler, gold and black, and that's all it was. So there's that pride, I think, was something I really got from Purdue's campus, and saw that people are here and working together in one big good community, and I say family as well in this big pond, right?
Yeah.
So
all right,
awesome. Yeah, that was a great kind of good start. And then what resources then can students use to help find that? Because they can talk to people on campus. Are there some other online resources that Purdue provides? What are those that can kind of people use and kind of help make that decision, right? Financial, or whether they want to attend, that kind of thing.
Again, I go back to visiting those websites. But if you're concerned about finances, you want to get yourself in contact with the Division of Financial Aid, or we call it DFA affectionately around here. They have open office hours. You can walk in. They're very good at responding to emails and phone calls. They're very good at being responsive to all student inquiries because they know that they are the one good source for all of this information. Now, I will say, sometimes you hear not so great things about it, but I want to remind everybody that a lot of times the only time people interact with organizations like DFA is when something's wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
So, of course, your overall impression of something is going to be riddled with stress when you contacted them because something's wrong. And they are going to handle that in the best way possible. And they do. They're very professional and very kind. But I would start with DFA if you're concerned about your finances.
Sure.
You can also look within the college that you are admitted to. So in this case, College of Engineering. Please contact me if you need to. You're more than welcome to. Amy Wagner. All my information is on those websites.
That's right.
And I can talk with you about some of your options. There are lots of people that you can get information from that you don't have to rely on websites, although websites have a lot of information. So if you're the type of person who doesn't like to make those phone calls, you might get everything you need if you're willing to click and scroll.
On the website,
But if you want to talk to someone, or maybe your parents want to nudge you to talk to someone.
That's right.
Please call. Please do it, and it's great. We're all willing to help So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And even if you hit the wrong person, we'll get you to the right
We'll get you to
person
the right one.
eventually.
Yeah, it's true.
That's
It's
right.
so
like
true.
the switchboard operator,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, with the old switch.
Yeah.
We'll get you to the right person. So
That's great.
And so you were just talking about contacting the Division of Financial Aid. Now, I know you don't represent them, but you talk a lot about financial aid at Purdue. So what are the categories of financial aid that Purdue offers to incoming students?
Okay, so we have our merit scholarships, and merit is basically your academic achievements, your GPA, that type of thing. And we also have need-based scholarships, and need-based scholarships are determined by a calculation based on your FAFSA application.
Okay.
So the FAFSA application is very important for everyone to fill out.
yes.
I think that some people think, well, my family is in middle income, so I'm not going to qualify for anything anyway because we don't make as low amount of money for me to be need-based, and we don't make too much, that type of thing. But the truth is that even if you don't qualify for some of those need-based scholarships that we have at Purdue, you may qualify for others, for middle-range people, but we don't know if you fall into that category if you don't file a FAFSA.
Right.
So filing one just in case is really important. Now, if you are awarded a need-based scholarship, you're going to need to file one every year anyway because they have to confirm that you still fall in that need-based category.
Yeah.
So merit-based, the university-wide has several. They award those based on your common application that you submitted to apply to Purdue, and they will send you the notification for those merit-based scholarships when you get your acceptance letter.
Awesome.
So
Okay.
you will know that straight up that you have that money
Yep.
promised to you. And those are renewable every year as long as you meet the scholarship criteria and eligibility requirements. Purdue also has need-based scholarships, as we've just talked about. The College of Engineering has several. And again, we need those FAFSA forms in order to determine whether or not you meet our qualifications by each endowment. But we can also help you with that type of thing. Some of them are both merit and need. So you have to have need component, and you also have to score a certain amount with your GPA and your academic success. So those are it just depends on what we can do and where we can fit you. We have so many students that apply and so many that are accepted and so many that are worthy of scholarships. So we spend a lot of time going through each individual student and making sure that we're doing the best we can to fit people with some sort of financial help if we can offer it. But the pools are limited, so we have to pick and choose, and it's very difficult sometimes.
Unfortunately, money doesn't grow on trees.
Yes.
Exactly.
If we could figure out how to do that, we
That
would totally do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the $1 million idea right there.
One important thing that I am going to note about those university-wide merit-based scholarships is that you are only eligible for them if you apply before our early action November 1st deadline.
That's absolutely true.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
Very
it. Yeah,
good.
good catch. I
Yep.
always forget because
Yeah.
I actually missed that deadline when I applied to Purdue.
No.
And my parents still talk to me about that to this day. They're like, well, come on, you
Look at
gave
all the
up, right? Yeah, you gave up this easy opportunity to get a merit scholarship, and so that's the best piece of advice I think. Whenever someone asks me, is apply by November 1st, and then you get to know, many months before you have to make that decision. I think it's almost 4.5 months before you have to say yes.
Yeah.
So you get all that time to then go back and, visit the colleges and,
Do
do your research.
Yeah.
So it allows the most flexibility, I think. And even with the scholarships too, as you come into being Purdue, one of the things I earned a major specific one. So under my school, the biomedical engineering school, I earned a scholarship through there. And so there's so much more I think that opens up for students, as well as scholarship universe and talking about, going to those third-party scholarships. There's a lot of money out there as well. And that was something I never quite looked at because, I was always like, oh, I don't think I can find them. But we have a very great resource, and there are a lot of great resources out there to find third-party scholarships to help as well. And $500, when you get that a couple of times, really adds up.
It's
and that's
nice.
something that I've seen. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so you want to make sure that I understand that with College of Engineering is different than your schools that you might transfer to major to.
Yeah.
those schools, when you transfer to major, may have applications for their scholarships.
Yep.
So you need to research
Yep.
again, click and scroll,
More
and
websites.
find out some more things, and try to figure out due dates, what you need to provide them in terms of application.
Mm-hmm.
The College of Engineering does not require applications because we, again, use your college Common App
Application.
information.
Oh, wow.
So we look at those type of things
lot
to find
easier.
out a lot more about you
Yeah.
and about the things that you may need and the things that we can help you with. So Common App is very important. I know
Yeah.
everyone treats it as important, but we use it for a lot of things, not just getting you in here.
Not just getting you in.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. It gives a good profile.
It
and a very
certainly-
good
yeah.
intro to that
yeah,
person.
yeah.
And just with the technicality, I believe first year engineering is like if anyone donates to that for like scholarships, it actually just goes to the general university wide scholarship pool. So that's why there's not a lot of scholarships for first year engineering specifically. But as Nick was saying, once you get into your major, you're going to have a lot more opportunities from that major specific scholarship pool to get scholarships.
But
It's true. When we work with donors, and this is a lot of with Purdue for Life, but they try to talk them when they're forming the endowments to make them as broad as possible so they're not
Yep.
so restrictive and we can
Use
but if you think about it, and Nick, you're getting ready to graduate, you think about your time at Purdue, it's FYE is very formative and very
is.
important. But when
Yep.
you transfer to major, that's where your passion is.
That
That's
is.
your heart. And you're going to want, when you make it, and you're going to, you're going to want to form a scholarship with students
Yes.
that are experiencing those same things that you did. And that's often when you transferred to major. So that's why FYE also doesn't have a whole lot of things to offer those incoming students. But we do have some, and
Do
we
have
do
some.
try, to
As
get
much
it in
as
there.
you can give out,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
it's that pool again. But yeah, it's definitely great, and that seeing that formative time, and then you know that's what you can give back to and help other students see where they want to go into with their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so bottom line, if you don't get a bunch of scholarships from FYE, you can get some from your major specifically.
Yep, there's a lot of money out there, and I think you just have to look for it. And, that's
And a
the thing.
lot is left on the table.
It sure is.
Well, Dean Rahman has made it his one of his goals to make sure that we are clearing out those as much as we can
Yep.
and getting all the money out to students. Not that it hasn't been a goal in the past, but he wants us to make special pay special attention to these things and make sure that we are covering our commitments for the next years, because all of these are renewable for 4 years or 8 semesters. But he wants us to make sure that we're covering as many people as we can. So that's a special thing about our new dean.
a great new outlook, right?
Yeah.
For Purdue Engineering, and that's
Yeah.
awesome with
Yeah.
the new dean.
Yep.
Awesome. So then, how do students apply for some of these scholarships? Whether that's for the first year engineering, or I know you said that they use your Common App. Is there any additional steps they need to take, or is it just simply after they're accepted they will find out? How do students apply for some of these College of Engineering scholarships? I know you said there's not really an application.
There's not.
Just I don't know the
Yeah.
process, so I kind of want to hear a little bit more.
there's
about
not.
it.
It's the easiest thing in the world.
Okay.
It's based on your common application,
Awesome.
and we will notify you in
Okay.
a letter, typically through an email, that you have been awarded based on whatever, usually merit or need or both, and we'll explain to you in the letter what you are required to do to maintain the scholarship, your eligibility requirements that you know. And if you have any outstanding questions, you're always encouraged to call the office
Reach
and
out.
ask.
Yep.
But yeah, it's an easy application because there isn't one.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
that's
even
nice.
better to hear.
It is, and not time consuming in that fashion
Yeah.
either.
Because time's always of the essence sometimes with college applicants and new incoming freshmen as well as everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
time is invaluable right now. So.
I feel like this is an important time to jump in really quick and remind people that as newly accepted to any college, especially Purdue, paying close attention to your email is very important.
Yes.
So I have a lot of students who come in and say, I didn't even get notification about this scholarship. I didn't know I had it. And I say, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
And,
Yes, yeah.
well, we did send you an email, so I can check that I did. And, it was sent out this date. So check your junk, check your spam,
Yep.
look through those things. But now that you are admitted to a college, they're going to be sending you a lot of things electronically. And so
Yep.
learning how to sort and store and categorize those is probably one of the greatest ways of being a successful student you could possibly imagine. It
Yeah.
sounds so
Yes.
silly
Yes.
because it's not about homework and it's not about whatever, but it is about making sure you know how to organize your information and not miss those important emails like that.
Oh, my brother's notorious for missing those emails. He just
Shout out
doesn't
to
check his
Calvin's brother
emails.
there.
My
So,
sister also ignores most of that stuff. So.
I know that when I was just coming into college, that was one thing that, I didn't use email a lot in high school. And then coming to college, I realized just how important and powerful emails are. And there's a
Same.
lot of information. So being able to check your inbox. And now I'm the kid who refreshes all the time to to know. I'm a little over OCD on that. But it's still, there's a lot of information that you can find in those emails. Got to pay close attention to them because sometimes they have things hidden in them that you can use as great steps and resources. Right?
Exactly.
So, awesome. Well, then, so with these scholarships, what basic percentages? How many students? Because we get this question a lot in our office. How many students kind of get these scholarships across the College of Engineering or Purdue in general?
Well, for merit-based scholarships in particular, there are probably about 10%, around 10% of incoming first-year students who would receive a merit-based scholarship.
Okay.
Need-based just depends on who has qualified for need
right.
and what we have to give that year, so it's a little different and it's hard to estimate.
Yeah.
But merit-based, we can actually
About
give a good
10%.
estimation. If you look on Purdue's admissions website, it'll say 15% for all of Purdue, but College of Engineering, we can say roughly around 10.
10%.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good to know. And then, I know that scholarships are talked up a lot as ways to pay for college, but there's definitely others. I know we know some, but are there any you want to highlight?
Well, I always like to remind people that there is a federal work-study program that allows for students. They are need-based. They have to be need-based because they filed a FAFSA and they qualify for need-based. But it is an opportunity to get employment, and a lot of times it's in a campus office or program or a local nonprofit in the area, and you can get this type of employment where the employer and the federal government share your pay. So you get a pretty decent salary, but the employer is saving by hiring you because the federal government is paying for it as well. So it's a really great deal for the employer. It's a great deal for you because you get job experience that's maybe more than like the concession stand at the.
That's right.
I worked concessions
You did?
at an outdoor amphitheater when I was a kid. So I needed something more than cooking hot dogs on mass to say that I was going to be a qualified person. Right. So this works really well. Also, the College of Engineering has an amazing co-op program through our Office of Professional Practice. And I know, though it was a long time ago, many students, my contemporaries, that co-opt in order to help pay for their tuition. In these co-op programs, you are hired by an established company, engineering company. You get real-life experience, and you get a nice salary for the time that you're working for them. And it is such that you can pay for the things that you need, but you can also save. And you can save around $5,000, maybe even more, depending on how much you really want to scrimp. And that's really nice to have that to offset your tuition.
And the Office of Professional Practice has set up really great partnerships also with companies. I know we talk a lot about, in our major, and I know this is across all the majors, that there are actually partnerships set up with companies where they come and they only will hire a Purdue engineer because that's the partnership they have set up with Purdue. So there's invaluable resources that Purdue has set up that you can take advantage of and be in these partnerships, and those employers are only looking for Purdue students, which is kind of crazy, and it just knows that puts into perspective the ability that Purdue has and that you will have as a Purdue engineer, which is great. So and then so with these, how do students kind of find these co-op programs? We have these partnerships, but how do they find that? Do they reach out to someone? You guys?
Our Office of Professional Practice is amazing, and they are very responsive to our students, and they have all of this set up. Their entire mission is to make these relationships with the companies and partnerships and create new opportunities for engineering students to be successful in the workplace and to earn this experience. So your first thing you've got to do is contact OPP and find out what you need to do to start that ball rolling in that direction. And they will help you. They really will. They're there for you.
We had a conversation with them. Our office did back in, I think it was September or October. And they had talked about how that year alone, or this fall, every student that had entered their doors had at least one offer from a company.
That's
amazing. Up to that point.
Wow.
And so it was, that's great to hear. And then they said, of course, multiple offers these students had, of course. But they had at least one. And so all it takes is just reaching out, right? Getting that ball rolling and figuring out, kind of what you need to do.
Yeah. And one of the things I think is unique about it is that you work for a company, and if you like it and what you're doing there, you have an opportunity to potentially be hired by that company when you graduate, which is amazing.
Yes.
Talk about less
Job
stress
security.
for you. Right? But also, if you don't, now you're learning a little bit more about what you're looking for in the workplace. So that when you do start searching for jobs, you can start to narrow down and eliminate options that that you aren't for you, because you learned about it at your co-op. So that's a really neat thing too. It's a quality about the co-op experience that I think that people don't really consider, because they're thinking, oh, you take this co-op, you get a job. Not necessarily. You take this co-op and you learn about what you want out of your workplace experience when you're ready to go work. And that's a really great idea.
Yeah, and the same thing can be said about internships too, which are primarily over the summer. For those of you who don't know, those are one-time commitments, whereas a co-op is a rotational thing with your education. But both of them you are getting paid for, or you should be. If you're not getting paid, you're looking in the wrong spot.
Absolutely.
Yes, right.
Please remember that.
Yes.
But I want to add really quick that if you are a scholarship student at Purdue Engineering and you are also on co-op, your scholarship eligibility is for 4 years or 8 semesters. So that semester that you are on co-op, or those semesters, you will not receive your scholarship. It is deferred to the semester that you return.
That's great.
Because you will have to take another semester or two to meet your classroom requirements before you can graduate. So you just defer that scholarship. Your eligibility semester is deferred, and you still get to use your scholarship for that 5th and final year or whatever you need to do to complete your degree.
That's great to know. Great information.
It is. Makes you feel a little bit better
Makes you
about
feel a little bit
Yeah.
better. That's right. And then you know that this is a chance for you to be able to go away and work, and you're not jeopardizing anything you have on Purdue's campus. And
Right.
you're taking advantage actually of more things you can do on Purdue's campus.
Yeah.
So
Or
this
I
is
guess for co-ops off Purdue's campus.
exactly.
Well, yeah.
That's right. When you go away. So another big question we always get. Tuition reciprocity. Is this a thing here at Purdue, or how do we look at that, with other states, and, how does our in-state versus out-of-state tuition kind of go, and just briefly kind of chatting about that.
We do not offer reciprocity with other states, but we do have transfer programs within the state with institutions like Vincennes University, and we are in the process of developing a transfer agreement, a more extensive transfer agreement with Ivy Tech within the state of Indiana. Those type of situations would be where a student completes so many years at the first institution, be it Vincennes or Ivy Tech, and then they can transfer and be a direct admit into the College of Engineering. So you still have to meet the academic standards, you still have to meet the coursework standards, but it is an opportunity to become a Purdue engineer in kind of a different way.
In a different way, right.
So that's nice. And so it does often save in tuition in the long run, because those are less expensive schools to start at.
Yeah, and I know as well for our in-state tuition, we've been tuition frozen now for
12 years.
12 years, that's it.
Yeah.
And they just renewed it, I think, for the next year,
believe
next 2
so.
years. So
I'm sure that our new president,
he's going to keep that.
President
President
Chang,
Chang.
is going to want to do this, everything he can to keep that. So everyone always wants to know, well, you've done it for 12. How long is this going to last? Well, we have no idea about that, but it would be in all of our all of our best efforts will be to make sure that we're keeping our tuition low, because we know that we want people to be able to afford our education.
And that's the best part. It really helps with that value to that education. And you know that it's not, it doesn't keep going up. It stays there. Yeah. And you know that still the Purdue name holds its reputation.
Yeah, we're actually a number 7 best value school for that. For the nation. And it's kind of funny. I'm coming from Colorado, and in-state tuition there is only a few $1,000s cheaper than out-of-state is here. So that's just a testament to the frozen tuition.
I know we always get this. So you can literally go to Google and just type in Purdue and then what you're looking for. And we have a very good roadmap system on Purdue, and it'll take you right there. I know sometimes you can get lost in the websites cooking through all the different links because these websites are big.
Yep.
But if you just go to Google and you tell it exactly what you need, Purdue,
Undergraduate
admissions, something, it'll take you right to that.
It's
right
like
to
we're a
that
STEM
website.
school.
I know.
Yeah.
We haven't figured out.
We haven't all figured out.
That is one thing. That is great. That, with engineers and STEM
Right.
students, we can figure that enough out.
We've got that down. Yeah, it's true. It's good. There's a great amount of information out there.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Amy, for your insights. We've thoroughly enjoyed having you on the show. Do you have any parting words or words of advice
And
for
anything
students
you
making
want
their
us to
college
know,
decisions?
any other things that you want the students to
Oh,
know?
wow. How much time do we have?
I think I know. You could talk for days. But
But we're going to edit it out.
that's right.
I would just say congratulations. Take time to celebrate your accomplishments. Working towards getting into college is such a big part of your high school and sometimes even down to junior high. You think about it and you dream about it, and now you have these acceptance letters before you. So be proud of yourself for a minute. Take a breath and just be proud. It's great. I hope that you choose Purdue. If Purdue accepted you, then they know that you're a Boilermaker. You have what it takes. So don't be afraid, even with that big fish conversation. Don't be afraid. If you got that acceptance letter, they say that you can do it. So you get here and know that you can do it. And that even applies to our very competitive College of Engineering.
That's right.
They know you've got what it takes. You can do it. There are a wealth of resources here for student success in terms of academics. Investigate those, talk to upperclassmen, talk to your professors, and find out where you can go for help if you're having trouble with academics. It's out there, I promise. And one thing that I just had a conversation about, and I thought it was genius, the people who use those resources are the top of the class in your class. So you look around your class and you think, I'm only scoring this high, but you've got all these people who are scoring the highest. How do they know this stuff? Well, they're using those resources. They're showing up to those tutoring sessions. They're going to office hours. They're going to supplemental instruction. So be that person too. Make the effort to go out there and do it. That's what they're there for. And that's why the top people are getting the top grades. They're making that effort.
I learned that lesson in college. I did. I came in not thinking I needed to attend any of these and that I could figure it out on myself. But I was far from that. And that's the best part is I've had so many great conversations with professors and my teaching assistants and graduate teaching assistants have so many insights to those courses. You just need to ask. That's it.
And they know it's tough. They designed it to be tough because they
That's
want
right.
you to challenge yourself. This isn't like a mean sort of weeding you out sort of nefarious sort of thing. This is you are going to be responsible for something really big in your life, and engineering is a big deal. So we need you to challenge yourself. We need you to know what to do when you're facing a problem that you don't know how to solve. How do you do that? And that's part of the education alone is just learning how to get through that and then getting the right answer, but also learning how to get there, So we want you to succeed, and you're going to, and we're happy to have you as part of the family, and that's what I would end with.
That's awesome. I think it's a great conclusion to this week's episode. So that will conclude this week's episode for us. As always, please reach out to the Office of Future Engineers here. We're the ones who are doing this podcast for you with any further questions. And of course, you can reach out to Amy as well. If you just look up Amy Wagner right on Google.
Purdue, Amy Wagner, it'll be there.
Hey, y'all, it's us again. We have many opportunities for you to actually connect with our podcast.
Yeah, so you can send an email to the email down below on your screen and send us a picture of you enjoying your coffee break with us, you and your coffee mug.
Yes, send us a selfie. And if also send us your mug if you want to be featured at the podcast. We have our address also linked below if you would like to send us our mug. And we'd love to feature your mug on our podcast with our next upcoming episodes. Thank you so much.
See you guys next time.